Hi everyone. Well, as promised, I will take you through a little hack on how to read a journal article without feeling too overwhelmed. So, what I'll do is I'll share my screen and take you through that. So, let's get into our Blackboard site. I'll take you to the course readings. Just take a second. And so the main thing to remember, because you will encounter journal articles a lot in your university career, and they are extremely helpful to read, but there's bits in there that, as a student, you may not need to know early on in your university career. So what I aim to do with this is to show you the most important bits that will help you with what you need to do. And so here is our reading for this week. Does personal social media usage affect efficiency and well-being? And you know from the lecture that of course it does, but anyway. So here you've got the abstract. So the best thing to do is to read this first. This is like a concentrated version of what is actually in the rest of the article. So to even write one, so if you end up doing another social media course called CMN 276, you'll actually write one of these as part of a research report, but not for this course. But what it is, it's almost like they sum up each section of the rest of the article in one sentence and pull it together for the abstract. So there's a line from the introduction, there's a line from the literature review, from the method, the results, and then the conclusion. So it includes some of the main findings from this research. So to get a really sort of overall view of what's in there, start with the abstract. Next, the introduction just sets up what is to come. So it basically states what the research gap is. So every research paper and all research is done is to really find and share new knowledge on a particular area. So in this section, this is what it tells you, just what that gap is, and it sets the scene for the research to be undertaken. The literature review comes next in most cases, and in here, normally there's a whole section called literature review, but in this one it flows on from the introduction, and that just gives background of all the other research that's happened before. So this is more like if you're writing say an essay or something like that around a research topic, it's good to read that just to see what else is out there, and it can actually help you find your sources. But if you're just trying to get to the actual crux of a particular article through reading it, you can go straight to scrolling down and down. So as I said, this is a hack. So it's really going to the discussion and the conclusion. So the conclusion will sum up again what the overall conclusion was. That's why it's called the conclusion. So you go abstract and conclusion. Then if you want to know more, go to the discussion, because that teases out more of the sort of issues that came up as part of the results in the study. Give a wide berth early on in your university career to the method and the results, because often the method really just lays out the research techniques used to gather the data. So in a research article, researchers have to put this out there to be transparent and show what they did to gather this data. And it also helps other researchers if they want to replicate that study in the future. So that's why that's there. But often if you are completely unfamiliar with research methods, it can just really overwhelm you. So you don't need to do that. The next section to avoid is the results section when you're early on in your university career, and that is because often it has quite advanced statistical analyses. Now, you're not meant to know how to do this stuff in your first year, even sometimes in your final year. This stuff sort of comes depending on what course you're doing, but often it comes if you decide to do honours or you're going further to do postgraduate study. So you don't need to know that. If you have an interest in that side of things, knock yourself out. But as for doing it, as part of reading an article, you don't need to do that. So I'll just stop sharing my screen now. Okay, and another hack is basically if you're looking for other sources as part of an essay or something like that, go straight to the reference list of the article, because there'll be heaps of stuff there that will be relevant to what you're looking for. So just to recap, abstract first to give you a summary of what's going on. Conclusion next also gives you the main points and the main conclusions drawn from the study. Then if you're sort of a bit more interested in what's going on, the discussion is really good, but don't freak out or don't freak yourself out by looking at the method and the results unless you have a real interest in that side of things. So that's how you read a journal article and skim through. And so while there are lots of journal articles in this course, so usually one per week. And all I'm asking is that you open them and read those sections. So you don't have to read the whole thing, but at least read the abstract and the conclusion and any more if you want to, because you'll actually gain a lot of understanding from even just reading those sections. So that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Happy to help you. And I will see you next week.